Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Now, this is a live show. We're taking all of your questions. If you have any question you'd like to ask on any topic in regards to Islamic law, please send your questions in via the WhatsApp number on the bottom. There's a QR code in the corner there. You can scan that. That'll take you straight to the WhatsApp page, and you can ask your question there. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah, the technical team will send them to me on my iPad. If you'd like to call into the studio, 0203 515 0199 if you're in the UK. And if you're outside the UK, you want to call in, just call the WhatsApp number there on the bottom, and inshallah, you'll be able to get through, and we will be able to discuss and answer your questions. I'm your host, Mohsin Shah, and joining me is Sheikh Ali Maash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you this evening, Sheikhna?
Alhamdulillah, bikhair.
MashaAllah. The weather is getting quite cold, but mashallah, we're still warm here in the studio. Thank you to the technical guys. Sheikhna, before we begin, we as the Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen, we believe in the 12 Imams. We believe that these 12 Imams are divinely appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe that they are error-free, that they are infallible. We also believe that they have access and that they have knowledge beyond the universe. My question, Sheikhna, is this knowledge acquired to an Imam as they are growing up? Or are the Imams born with this knowledge, complete knowledge, and that they don't have any indeficiencies in knowledge when they are born and so forth? And also, furthermore, Sheikhna, what is that secret or that trust that is transferred from Imam to Imam on their deathbed and so forth? Apparently there's something that they tell the Imam. Is this knowledge that they didn't have from before? How does it work, Sheikhna?
إن شاء الله. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. Indeed, the Imams, they have the knowledge. They were the first creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. In the famous hadith of the khilqah of the nur of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Although the first was Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When he says to Jabir, إن أول ما خلق الله يا جابر نور نبيك يا جابر. So the first creation was the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His nur was created from Nur Allah Azza wa Jal. And then Ahlul Bayt sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they followed. So they are the first creation Allah created because He created the first and the best of His creation, and then followed by the rest of the creation. Anyhow, of course, Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, as the verse of Tathir, وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا, that Allah purified them, thorough purification. And there's none other than Ahlul Bayt, Muhammad, Ali, Fatima, Hassan, and Hussein alayhim salam, and the rest of the Imam alayhim salam, and included within this ayah specifically. So they all share in terms of the knowledge, in terms of the infallibility, in terms of the righteousness, the akhlaq. Of course, there's tafdeel, the fadila, which means the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the best from all the creation, even from his own progeny. And then it comes after Imam Ali alayhi salam, the best of the creation. Then Fatima to Zahra alayhi salam, and you go all the way to Hassan and Hussein salamullah alayhim, till to the 12th Imam Ajalla Faraj Sharif, who is the best after Imam Hussein alayhi salam.
Yes.
So he comes after Imam Hussein, straight away Imam Mahdi Ajalla Faraj Sharif. Indeed, when the Imam passes away, of course, he would deliver the Imam duties and tasks to the next Imam. Just before his death, he would deliver all, as you mentioned, the secrets and everything of the Imam to the next Imam. We have a hadith in Kitab al-Kafi al-Sharif that a man asks Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam about this issue, that he says, this man to the Imam, إن شيعتك يتحدثون أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله علم علي عليه السلام بابا يفتح لهم منه 1000 باب. That he says that your Shia, they tell us that and narrate that when the Holy Prophet صلى الله عليه وآله just about to depart and pass away, he taught Ali عليه السلام a door of knowledge, in which, and from that door 1,000 doors of knowledge opens to the Imam عليه السلام. And that's, of course, it means that the Holy Prophet gave the duty of the Imamah and the Khilafah to Ali alayhi salam by the authority of Allah Azza wa Jal. And Del Ghadir, you know,
yes,
the famous khutbah, and you know, man kunt mawlah fa'ali mawlah, and so forth. So, because you see, every prophet, they had a vicegerent. Harun was the wazir of Musa alayhi salam. You have, for example, other prophets who we have, for example, you have Yaqub, you have Yusuf alayhi salam, you have Ismail and Ibrahim alayhi salam. So you see, they have their own vicegerents, wasi of Nabi. So you can't abandon this just because of a plot took place after the Prophet's demise, and people came and they chose their own Khalifa and so forth. You can't just base on that, and then you establish the whole religion and aqidah based on this election of Khalifa, which led to today, as we can see, the bloodshed in the Muslim land, in the name of Islam, in the name of the Khilafah, in the name, we've seen what happened, bloodshed for the past 14th century. I mean, the Ottomans, the Abbasids, the Umayyads, how they shed the blood of the Muslims and even non-Muslims as a result. So here the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the Imam alayhi salam, he tells this individual that indeed علم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, that the Holy Prophet taught and told Imam Ali alayhi salam, علي عليه السلام, ألف باب يفتح من كل باب ألف باب, that he taught, rather not just one door, but he taught him 1,000 doors, in which another 1,000 doors would be opened from each door. So that's 1,000,000 door of knowledge. Imagine, because he now receives the knowledge of Rasulullah, which needs to be implemented as a Khalifat Rasulullah, as a vicegerent to deliver it to the Muslim world, because you have to have this connection with the unseen, you know, with the Prophet in somehow. You can't just separate it. Harun was Wazir Musa alayhi salam. You can't separate them and bring somebody from the Bani Israel to be the vicegerent of Musa, and then he would suddenly goes against Musa alayhi salam, as we saw what happened with Bani Israel afterwards, when they worshipped the calf and they ignored the wasiyah of Musa alayhi salam, when he was going to bring the alwah and the from Allah Azza wa Jal. So you can see how people misled their prophets just because they chose the wrong person to take the authority as a result. So indeed, the Khilafah must be chosen by Allah Azza wa Jal. Inni ja'ilun fil ardi Khalifa. Allah says, I appoint the Khalifa, which is, of course, the first Khalifa was Adam alayhi salam. You cannot choose your Khalifa yourself. That represents Allah Azza wa Jal, Quran al-Kareem, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You have to leave it to Allah Azza wa Jal and follow the Kitab and the Sunnah and the Seerah of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam and the traditions, of course.
Fantastic. Quick reminder to our viewers that this is a live show. We do take in all your questions. If you have any question you'd like to send in on any topic, we don't need to know your name. We don't need to know where you're asking from. Just put your question in anonymously via the WhatsApp. The QR code is over there. If you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah, me and the Sheikh will be able to discuss and answer your questions. Sheikhna, we've got a couple coming in already. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Are there any differences in actions in Salah when it comes to men and women? Good question. When it comes to Salah, Sheikhna, the men and women, is there anything different that they do? I know the way a man stands, his feet are apart, and ladies are recommended to have their feet joined together when they pray salah. Apart from that, the hijab, covering of the hair and so forth, wearing jewelry, I think is mustahab for a lady to put on when she prays. But in the action-wise, it's pretty much the same, is it not?
It's almost, one can refer back to the masail of the ulama to see exactly what mustahabbat. Of course, the wajibat is very clear, the hijab to cover, except the face and both hands and then the feet as well, if there's no non-mahram, let's say, available. Otherwise, they have to wear socks, according to some of the ulama's opinions. To put their hands on their thigh when they stand, for example. There are different mustahabbat. In the wudu, for example, to start from
the inside outside, the inside of the arm rather than the outside.
Slight differences.
But yeah. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Are playing sports video games mubah or makruh? Is it possible that we can convert playing sport video games that have nothing indecent to mustahab? For example, Sheikhna, if we're playing football on a PlayStation or Nintendo or whatever game they or any game platform that they're using, tennis, there's car racing and so forth, things we consider sport. Are these mubah or makruh? Is there any way we can convert them to mustahab?
You see, usually these acts are mubah acts in which no thawab nor its makruh or discouraged or disliked. In anyhow, one needs a fatwa from the marja, even to the specific aspects of the sharia, that because you cannot add something to the sharia, otherwise it becomes bid'ah. If it's bid'ah, it's going to be a problem. So you cannot add it into the religion unless there's a marja, jama' shara'i, mujtahid, who can say, yes, this now with this intention becomes, for example, mustahab.
What about if I was playing a game of football on my computer game, and I did a salawat every time I scored a goal or something like that, or I recited a Quranic ayah or something? Would that make it mustahab, or no? The laws of mustahabat are different to.
Of course, you're going to get the thawab for that salawat or tasbih or recitation of that surah.
Yeah.
But for the actual game itself, it's a mubah game. As I've said, it requires a mujtahid to come forward and say, well, let's say, I'll give you an example. You bring that PlayStation or the games inside the Imam Barga or the mosque.
Yeah.
And you teach the kids, let's say, every Saturday, Islamic teachings, ahkam, aqaid, and you let them to play these games, for example.
Yeah.
As I've said, it requires a mujtahid to be able to say if these are mustahab acts, otherwise they're mubah originally.
Yeah, I see. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can I buy vodka, not for drinking, but cleaning something? Sheikhna, vodka is considered one of the spirits, and yes, it does have cleaning, disinfecting qualities. I've seen it myself with wounds and stuff. They couldn't find anything to clean it with. There was a bottle of vodka. They used the bottle of vodka to clean the wound and so forth. And it stings and so forth. So purchasing this alcohol for cleaning purposes, is that okay?
What ulama mentioned that you can't buy haram items, especially najis items. It has no value. I mean, you cannot transact, buy and sell alcohol. It has no value. The actual transaction and mu'amala is batil.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could require a specific, I mean, I'm sure in the markets you can find
there are plenty
different types,
there are plenty,
bleach and other types of.
There are also cleaning products which have the alcohol in it already, so you don't need to refer to vodka. You can go get that directly. Sheikhna, this one is from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I found out my friend masturbates. Is it mandatory for me to tell that person this is haram?
As they say, min bab nahi an al-munkar, to refrain, let's say, enjoying good and forbid evil, refrain the evil. In this intentional form, one can say do so. Yeah.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I think this was from last week. How to remove sin? What is a good way to remove sin?
I mean, different acts and
Tawbah?
dhikrs one can say and do so. Istighfar is one of them. As-salat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad is one of the ways in which one can actually remove the sins. Tawbah, a sincere repentance that I'm not going to do this again. at whatever cost. زيارة أهل البيت عليهم السلام. Also, this ziyarah would give the tawfiq for the insan to stop sinning and to stop the acts of haram. I mean, it's a decision you have to take yourself. You know, Hur al-Riyahi on the day of Ashura, he took this decision.
Yes.
That to go to paradise. And he did it, and he was successful. Until today, they say, Salamullah ala Hur. And ulama would come and kiss the ataba, and put their cheeks on the ataba, and the doorstep of Hur, and kiss his shrine. So one can make a sincere decision that I will never ever do this act again.
Sheikh, when we are praying and we can't break our prayer by speaking and so forth, is it permissible to say Allahu Akbar really loudly to alert someone or something?
And overall, you are allowed in the salah to say dhikr like Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah, La ilaha illallah, or to say something in Quran, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, or to say dua, Allahumma ghafir li wa li walidayya, for example, to forgive my parents. These things are allowed to be said. Yes, with the intention of dhikr, you can do so to alert somebody. Should be fine.
Okay. Would the salah become invalid in the place of sujood, prostration of the forehead, or was najis?
Yes, indeed. The place of the sujood must be tahir and pure from any najasa. So if there's a najasa, you have to wash that muhur or turba, or let's say use sandpaper to remove that najasa. If it's dry najasa, you must make sure that you pray and you prostrate on a clean substance. And of course, it's better to have also, as a mustahab precaution, to have the place where you pray, the mat, let's say the earth that you pray on, also to be tahir as well. But the main thing, the wajib thing, is to make sure that the turba and the muhur is tahir when you put your forehead on it.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can we eat at a restaurant that serves pork, but they also have halal chicken there as well?
You have to make sure that it doesn't any cross-contamination with the najasa. Because sometimes, and I've seen this myself, that you go to a shop, they sell fish and chips, cod and chips, which is halal, of course, but they have sausage as well next to it. And I saw myself that the same spoon or the same has been cross-contaminated and touched. The oil has been like mixed with each other.
I mean,
as a result.
There are some restaurants who are educated in halal cross-contamination and so forth, and they do that. And there are others who are less. I went to one place and they change the pan every time they cook. So they'll cook food, make the order. Once it's done, that pan gets put on the side and gets washed. And they get a fresh pan out for the next one and so
That's
forth.
Great.
Next, a fresh spoon as well and things like that. So it's really, really, beneficial. But Sheikhna, I wanted to ask you as well, is it mandatory upon us to investigate? So once we go to, a place and we check the menu and everything, and we're looking for this is halal, is that halal? We do our inquiry and everything like that. So then we decide, okay, we're gonna order something. Oh, there's pork on the menu, but I'm certain that the chicken is halal and the beef is halal. I've seen certificates and so forth. Is it mandatory for me to go investigate in the kitchen, to go and look and see, is there cross-contamination, is there no cross-contamination? Or is it sufficient for me to ask the waiter, can I see your halal certificates or where you get your meat from? Yeah, I'm happy with that. And if I was, that's fine.
You see, in overall, the ulama say that if it was a Muslim market, or the Muslim, let's say, butcher or restaurant owner is a Muslim, then he is a hujjah, or let's say his hand is a hujjah, is a proof that it's halal and pure, tahir. As long as he's Muslim, you can trust, and he says this is halal, that's my certificate, khalas, you can trust him and eat, and everything is tahir, inshallah. So there's no issue with it if the seller was a Muslim. But in terms of the non-Muslims, this is an issue in which we have seen in many shops. We don't want to mention the big names and chains of names in terms of the famous shops. Again, because they sell pork, one should ask. Wouldn't be a problem, you would go and ask them that, is it vegetarian?
Yeah,
would you fry it separately?
They have to have it separate for vegans and for vegetarians and so forth. So
if you can trust them, there's no issue with it.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalam.
My mother passed away 1 year ago, Allah yarhamha, due to cardiac arrest. She was in the hospital for 6 months, unable to move or communicate. Her hair would always get tangled, so I would groom her hair. Okay, I'm assuming that means combing. I still have her hair that came off. I washed it and cleaned it, but what should I do with it? Is it okay to keep or should I bury it? Her grave is over 1,000 miles away from where I live. What should I do? Thank you, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you.
And she was alive when he used to comb her hair?
Yeah.
Usually what they say that if you click your nails, for example, or cut your, let's say, hair, just bury it. Yeah.
Where you are?
Yeah, of course.
The person doesn't have to take it to her grave and bury it at her grave. He can bury it in her garden or this. Is there anything wrong with keeping it, Sheikhna? Because maybe it's just a memory of his mother and so forth, or her mother.
It's better to bury it, as mentioned in the riwayat.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I have a question. Are akhbaris disbelievers? Okay, for those who don't understand what akhbaris are, to the viewers, akhbaris are people who don't really believe in using, ijtihad and also aql. They refer back to the Quran and Hadith and only Quran and Hadith for their laws. They don't try to, what's the right word to use in English? To interpret or to come up with a new law using the old sources. Without using intellect and so forth. They just refer to the Quran and Hadith, and if they talk about it, that's fine. If they don't, then there's no room for discussion. Are these people considered disbelievers, Sheikhna?
To be honest, I haven't heard anything from any marja' that you would consider them disbelievers. But anyhow, these are a school of knowledge within the Shia circles.
Technically, akhbar is to do with Islamic law, isn't it? It's not to do with aqa'id. And if someone is a disbeliever, that's more to do with aqa'id, what they believe. Yes. Akhbar is not an aqa'idi issue. It's not a theological issue. It's a fiqhi issue. It's an approach to Islamic law, which is very different from mainstream Shia. From WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What are the benefits of wearing aqiq? And are there set du'as to... Oh no, it's moved. And there set du'as to make when doing ziyarah?
Anyhow, this aqiq al-yamani, which is mustahab for the one to wear it in salah, for example. If there are dua in the Mafatih Janad, I haven't read it, but and overall, it's one of the signs of the mu'min to wear the ring in his right. وَاتَّخَذْتُمْ بِالْيَمِينِ, one of the 5 signs of the mu'min, زيادة الأربعين, الصلاة 51, and وَاتَّخَذْتُمْ بِالْيَمِينِ is to wear the ring in the right hand side, and of course, if it's aqiq, then of course it's a credit, it's a plus.
And what about the du'as to read when performing ziyarah?
In terms of which ziyarah?
Any ziyarah, I think we're going to Amir al-Mu'mineen or going to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein or Abu Fadil. Are there any du'as when we go to the shrines, the domes?
Indeed, there's a du'as or etiquettes for the ziyarah. When you stand on the door of the Imam alayhi salam, you would say, for example, أدخل يا رسول الله. You would ask the permission. اللهم إن وقفت على أبواب بيوت نبيك. I stand on one of the doors of your prophets. So these are the houses related to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you would ask permission, and then there's dua. And then of course, you have to refer back to each imam's ziyarah. They actually have a small pamphlet which has the dua and then the ziyarah of the Imam alayhi salam.
Another question from YouTube. Is someone who believes in Tawweed Muslim? Tafweed, sorry. Tafweed? I don't know what Tafweed is. Have you heard of Tafweed?
You see, Tafweed, which is not acceptable in Islam, which are called Mufawwada. Mufawwada are those who say that Allah has given all the knowledge and everything to the human being and He doesn't interfere anymore. As the Quran says, Yadullah maghlula, for those who said that Allah's hand is now, it's like handcuffed. He can't do anything else. He gave everything to those individuals, to that community, to that group, but He can't change it. He can't do anything. So that, of course, is kufr and shirk. We don't accept it. But tafweed, that we accept is that Allah Azza wa Jal, He would delegate, He would give to some of His angels, like Malakul Maut, Israel, to take the souls of the human beings. That's some kind of tafweed, delegation, that you do this. Jibreel revealed the Quran to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this kind of tafweed is allowed. There's no issue with it. So each malak, each angel would do something, a duty, a task.
But that's what they were created for.
Bi'idhnillah. Again,
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them for that purpose.
Yes.
I've heard even when the angels have no more, for example, the angels that bring rain, once the world is end, there's no need for these angels and they get destroyed as well. I've heard, I'm not sure how authentic that is, but next question from YouTube. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can I sit in a boy car just to take me home from masjid? Okay. Sheikhna, I'm assuming it's a female that's asking this. Let's say this is a female. It happens a lot with university students because they're in a different city. It's not their home. They go out for majalis and so forth. It's difficult for them to get back home. Sometimes the buses are not available at those times. Taxis are expensive and so forth. If I would say a gentleman, someone that she recognizes or she knows from university or from wherever, says, I'll drop you home, it's not a problem. Is she allowed to sit in the car with this person?
You see, what is haram in the Sharia is banter, cracking jokes with the opposite gender, to be in seclusion, isolation, so nobody can have access to that place. Let's say you would invite an opposite gender who is not mahram to you, to your own flat, and then the flat gets, closed and locked. It's you and her in that room or that flat. That's haram. Other than that, if it's something in public, let's say, there's no banter, there's no cracking jokes, there's no haram involved, to a limited extent should be fine.
Indeed. Another question here, Sheikhna. Are Sunnis allowed to enter the Shia mosque? Are they allowed to pray in the Shia mosque?
There's no issue with it. They even come to the haram of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam in Iraq. They come to the Kadhimiyya, to the Najaf, to Karbala shrines.
Yeah.
I've myself met one of the Sunnis from Baghdad, a youth, and he came and he asked me Masail Shar'iyya, imagine.
Wow.
So yeah, I was in Abu Fadl al-Abbas Salamullah shrine. Yeah. I was sitting in that courtyard and he came to me with his Shia friend. He brought him from Baghdad. And he was asking me, and he was very happy that he's performing the ziyarah.
Wow.
Different people from different religions and beliefs, they come and visit Ahlul Bayt in Iraq. Yeah, indeed.
I see. MashaAllah. Even I've seen in the shrine people praying with their arms folded and so forth. And many Sunni clerics and their scholars come to do ziyarah.
And priests as well.
Yeah, and Christian priests also come to do ziyarah. MashaAllah. Sheikhna, what is the ruling for one who lives next to a mosque? Is it mandatory for him to pray in that mosque? I've heard, Sheikh, that it's like 40 houses in each direction. They have to make the jama'ah or the congregation of the mosque. And it's better for them to come to the mosque and pray at the mosque so that there's people there. But outside 40 houses, it's up to them if they want to come or not. What is the actual ruling, Sheikhna?
Yes, indeed. We have a narration of this regard which says that لا صلاة لجار لمسجد إلا في مسجده, that it's makruh for the one who is neighboring the mosque not to perform the prayer inside the mosque, and rather in his house. It's just a few meters walk to the masjid, and we don't want to go to the masjid without any reason. Sometimes it's illness, sometimes it's other issues, but if you've got nothing wrong with you, then of course it's better to go and pray inside the mosque. To avoid it, of course, it's makruh and discouraged. So one should anyhow fill the masajid and the mosques with the prayers, with those who perform dua, because this is built for this purpose.
Yeah.
To perform the salah and dua.
I mean, it's not nice when in Muharram time you go to majlis and it's filled with people. There's no space to sit, and then come Thursday dua al-Kumail, there's only one line of people, 2 lines max. So it's nice to have a congregation. It's nice to have people. It's nice to have the masjid and the Husainiyah filled with people rather than have them empty.
Yeah.
Sheikh, we're going to go to a short break. Join us after the break as we continue to take your questions here on Ahkam SOS. Don't go anywhere.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars.
Is it permissible to plant trees by or
over Islam
the
establish based on peace and non-violence?
Is it permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim countries?
Is there an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 09 2155.
As lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, we all have an inclination to the epitome of love. When we rejoice, when times are hard, whatever stage of life we are in, we all yearn to be in one special place. We all wish to visit the blessed shrine of Imam Hussein in the holy city of Karbala. Not all of us have the blessing to visit the shrine of Imam Hussein, but there is still a way to experience the sights and sound of the blessed land of Karbala in the comfort of your own homes.
We call upon you, dear viewers, to support us in our financial costs to help bring the Holy Land of Karbala beaming into your homes. You can support us with a monthly donation of just $50 or £30. We are your gateway to Karbala. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Imam Hussein TV 3.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Ahkam SOS, live here in London on Imam Hussein TV 3. I'm your host, Mohsin Shah. And inshallah, over the next few moments, we're going to be taking all your questions. If you have a question you'd like to send in, please send it in via the WhatsApp. The number should be below, QR code in the corner there. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, send it in via the comment section. We've had so many questions coming. I've got more questions coming, alhamdulillah. Keep sending them in. We don't need to know your name. We don't need to know where you're asking from. Just send in your question. Inshallah, myself and the Sheikh will be able to discuss and answer your questions. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Alaikum assalam.
Sheikhna, someone's messaged here that I have a horse worth a lot of money. Can I breed the horse with another one and owned by another person in order to get money? So, Sheikhna, this happens a lot with not just horses, but with dogs, with all expensive animals. You may have the perfect genetics for this animal, whether it's for horse for racing, dogs for protection, or whatever. And if you've got, let's say you've got a horse for racing, a very, very fast horse, has long legs, very strong and so forth, am I allowed to find someone who's got a horse of a similar, not personality, but characteristics, physical characteristics, and then allow them to mate so that they'll have offspring, and those offspring have a greater chance of also having great physiques and so forth and be worth a lot of money, maybe get them back into racing and so forth. I know with dog racing it happens a lot. They take the fastest dogs and they try and make them mates. When they have puppies, they will grow to be even faster dogs than their parents and so forth. So Sheikhna, is this acceptable? Is this allowed?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yes, indeed, there's no issue with it. If the transaction is halal transaction, should be fine. We have actually a narration by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he went to visit somebody in his house, he saw, I think, a rooster. It was a single rooster. So the Prophet said, "Halla takhadta lahu ahla," that you don't want to consider a partner for this rooster. So it's encouraged that don't leave the animals alone. So they have to have partners because they have feelings like the humans. Subhanallah. Yeah, they need a partner. This is something in it, in one's subhanallah instinct.
MashaAllah.
So yes, this is required. It's something that.
From YouTube, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam.
I have a question. If I pray in a Shia Masjid, will they accept me? Okay. I think this is a Sunni person saying that if I pray in a Shia Masjid, will they accept me? Sheikh, let's be fair, and we can tell all those who are not Shia who are watching this show right now, you are more than welcome to come to any Shia center, Husseiniya, mosque, masjid, to come to do your ibadat to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want to come listen to a lecture or so forth, you're more than welcome. But Sheikh, from the fiqh perspective, is there any issues with Sunnis going to Shia mosque to pray, to attend the majalis, to listen to the du'as? Here, this person is asking, if I, hold on, where is it? Oh, another question. If I pray in a Shia masjid, will they accept me? As in, is a non-Shia going to receive any negative, feedback, energy, commotion? Is someone going to say something bad to them if they enter a Shia mosque to pray?
Not at all. As I've said a few minutes ago, that I met a Sunni youth who came with a Shia youth from Baghdad, and we had a conversation inside the Haram of Al-Abbas alayhi salam. Lots of Sunnis come from Baghdad and other places and pray in the shrines and the courtyards of Ahlul Bayt in Iraq alayhi salam. So they're more than welcome to come. I myself prayed in my university time in a local mosque close to the university. My Dhuhr Asr pray used to be in that mosque. And I was respected, there's no issue, didn't miss any problems at all. Pray in the corner and then leave for back to the lessons and lectures. I know there's no issue, of course. The brother needs to try once at least to see how the reaction would be.
But to be fair, I remember there used to be Jummah prayers at my local mosque, and my mosque was my Husseini is a Shia one, obviously. And we used to have Sunnis attending. They would sit and listen to the khutbah, and they were joining our prayers as well. And there was no issue. No one ever said, and in fact, when he didn't come, we'd be like, where were you? Why haven't you come this week? And so forth. I remember he was an Egyptian man, really nice guy, and he's been coming for years. So other madhabs are more than welcome to come to our Husseiniyyas anytime. Just try not to cause commotion. Like if you're going to come with animosity, then obviously you're going to be asked to leave. However, if you come and you just mind your business and you want to do ibadat, no one's going to say anything to you. In fact, there'll be a lot more encouragement for yourself and more welcoming. And actually, I think most Shias would be happy that you came to visit their mosque. From YouTube, Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum. Can I lie about the boy so they give me? Can I lie to my family about the boy so that they give me permission to marry him?
Lying is forbidden. One of the sins for the one to lie, especially when it comes to the marriage purposes or any other transactions, uqood, contracts or transactions. That would be some kind of deception.
Yeah.
Which is haram. Sometimes that contract would be dissolved or fasakh, as they say, because of this lie.
Oh, okay.
That they kept. So they for example, they hid aib, some kind of fault in that individual.
So the aqd is batil.
Would be void.
The nikah is batil.
Exactly. In some cases, void.
Wow.
There's no even divorce procedure.
But Sheikh, isn't there a case of to conceal someone's sins? Let's say you've got a boy and a girl. The girl likes the boy. She wants to marry. He has a good heart. He's a nice guy. Maybe he's got a bad problem. Maybe he gambles or he's got an alcoholic problem or something like that. But he's a nice guy. I like him. I want to marry him. Now we're going to conceal his sins, and the girl wants to marry the boy. In that case, is that haram? Is that bad?
You see, when somebody asks you, the friend of this boy, for example, and they want to know exactly his akhlaq and deen. If he's got a problem, you have to tell the truth. You don't want to get into the trouble, the girl and the family, that you're actually giving a proposal to somebody who is drunk, na'udhu billah. And we have narrations which says, don't give your daughter to a drunk man, for example.
Yeah.
So no, we need to know who is this individual. Of course, the one who has akhlaq and deen, of course, فَزَوُّجُوهُ, as the hadith says, خُلُقَهُ وَدِينَهُ فَزَوُّجُوهُ. So if they come with akhlaq and deen, with faith, then marry him. Otherwise, you have to avoid marrying somebody who is corrupt, na'udhu billah. Maybe
let's say he's not corrupt. Maybe there are other reasons. It sounds like this girl wants to marry the boy, but if I tell my parents that about him, if they ask, is he working, or he doesn't work, or he hasn't got a high job, or maybe he's from a different country, which can sometimes be a problem for certain parents and so forth, and then she lies about that, is that okay, or is that's not allowed neither?
Anyhow, lying is not
something
that would solve the situation. Maybe she lies today, in a couple of months' time when they get married, they end up divorcing now. So always use the right track, the right path, consult your parents, they have more experience. That's why we have a condition, the ulama mentioned, that if she's a virgin, they have to ask the boy, the father's permission, or the grandfather, the father or the father's permission for the marriage, because this girl has no experience in terms of the marriage. She could be deceived, cheated, taken into the wrong direction as a result, to the wrong hand of the person, and destroys and ruins her life. That's why she needs a permission for the marriage.
Sorry, love, I tried for you. Sheikh, now next question. My Sunni friend wanted to get an answer from about temporary marriage, the nikah mutta. He made it sound like a brothel. What can we Shia respond to that? Okay, so we have this a lot, that other madhabs would come to the Shia and discuss mut'ah, they would discuss the mut'ah contract and so forth. And a lot of them would say, well, this is prostitution, this is this and this is that. How do we respond to this? Because Sheikh, mut'ah is mentioned in the Quran. It was done at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it was accepted and perfectly halal and so forth at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and continued thereon. So how do we respond to those who are saying that this practice that you have is absolute disgusting, or is prostitution?
Initially, if you go to the countries like Egypt and other Gulf countries, you'll find that they have similar marriage, short-term marriage, but with different names and titles. You have misyar. Ask Egyptians, ask. Go to Arabia, misyar, misfar, marriage with the intention of divorce. So he would marry her, but he would tell, I'll divorce in 1 month's time. And they agree, and then they divorce after. They have the exact procedure, but they don't want to call it mut'ah because the Shia took it over. From Rasulullah, sunnatan and ayatan from the Holy Quran. فَمَا اسْتَمْتَعْتُمْ بِهُنَّ فَآتُوهُنَّ أُجُورَهُنَّ, as the Quran mentions. It's in the Quran. How could Allah forbid something which was halal, or the Prophet forbid something which was halal? Imagine that if it's na'udhu billah prostitution, then it's like saying zina was halal in the Prophet time, na'udhu billah, then he forbid it. Haram is haram, halal is halal, ila yawm al-qiyamah. Alcohol was haram and forbidden from Adam alayhi salam, all the way to the qiyamah. You cannot say, no, you can drink alcohol in the beginning of the Islam. You're allowed.
There's this thing that they
it's
say.
It's allowed, it's halal, and then became haram.
They say that the prophets used to drink, na'udhu and so forth. And it's like the prophets never touched, alcohol and things like that. So, it's just like that. Okay. The person that was asking about going to a Shia mosque to pray and so forth has responded saying, yes, I'm a Sunni. Can I pray behind the Imam in a Shia Masjid? Is that okay? I pray at the back left.
Why not? You can pray. Ahlan wa sahlan. You're welcome.
Inshallah. Taqabbal a'malukum, inshallah. And pray for us in your du'as as well. Sheikhna, singing, as we know, is haram. And if one recites the Quran or a lamentation in a singing manner, one obviously has committed a haram act. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong question. I do beg your pardon. What is the ruling for the one who lives next to a mosque? We've done that one. Every now and then, Shia books are published that insult and denounce the Shia and their beliefs. What is our duty and obligation towards them?
Yes, indeed, we have to use the wisdom and hikmah and maw'idh al-hasan, as the Quran mentions, call unto the way of the Lord with wisdom and persuasive preaching, and reason with them in the ways that are the best. وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي أَحْسَنُ. we have to use the best method, the prophetic method, his sunnah, his tariqah, his way, his method. Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam's teachings, the way they spoke to their enemies, they turned a nasibi, an enemy, to a follower and believer. Imagine to this extent. Many accounts are mentioned in the history that how this man who came from Damascus, for example, in the time of the Muawiyah, teaching them, hatred of Ali alayhi salam and his children and his progeny, and he ends up guided through the wilayah of Muhammad al Muhammad. So we have to use the best means to attract the others.
Ahsant. Sheikhna, if a fish falls out of water or a wave throws it outside the water, or if the water recedes and the fish is left on the ground, can we consume this fish?
See, what is important in terms of the fish, number one, it has to be caught by the hand of a human being, not even a Muslim, it doesn't matter, Muslim or non-Muslim.
Yeah.
To be caught by a hand, by a tool, by a net of a Muslim, of a Muslim or non-Muslim, doesn't make a difference. But it needs to be caught by a human being. And number two, to die outside the water, not inside the water. These are the two conditions which makes the fish halal to consume. Otherwise, if the fish dies inside the water or jumps onto the seashore, for example, and dies by itself, it becomes haram to consume.
What if I'm on the seashore, the wave comes in, the tide comes in, it goes back, there's a fish there, it's still alive, it's still flapping, and I pick it up. It's still alive when I pick it up. Is that okay?
I think it's mentioned that as long as you catch it by your hand and eventually dies, then it could be.
Okay, as long as it's alive.
What is important that you bring it out from the water, alive and dies outside the water.
Okay.
That's the condition.
Okay, I thought maybe if things are getting difficult, we could put the fish back in the water and take it back out and make it life a little bit easier. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can a man kiss another man? We have in culture, Sheikhna, Italian culture is very famous for this. Greek culture is very famous for this. The Arabs are very famous for this. The men would kiss other men on the cheek, or they would touch cheeks and make a kissing sound, or they would actually kiss the cheeks or kiss the shoulder and so forth. We have it within families, all the time, nephews and uncles and so forth. So is it okay for a man to kiss another man?
You see, it shouldn't be involved with any kind of, or associated with any kind of lust or temptation or haram feelings and so forth. Just a general brotherhood, let's say, kind of hugging and kissing, no more than that.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I want to visit Imam Hussein Shrine. I'm from Pakistan. How can I make a visit there? Very good question, brother. What I suggest you do, because if you have a Pakistani passport, in the seasons of Muharram and Safar, it is very, very easy for you to get a visa. It's very, very cheap as well, almost free. So go to the Iraqi embassy, get your visa, and inshallah you'll be more than make your way towards the shrines. Other times of the year, it is a bit more difficult. However, Muharram and Safar is really, really flexible for Pakistanis. With the Pakistani passport, inshallah, you can make your journey towards Abu Abdullah Hussein. Remember us when you are there. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it permissible to Assalamu alaikum given by a non-Muslim? I guess, is it permissible to respond to a salam given by a non-Muslim? I think that makes sense.
What some ulama say that respond with alaykum wa alaykum, for example, rather than, because the salamun alaykum is specifically for the Muslims, for the believers, and it's one of the tahiyya or greetings of the heavenly people when they enter heaven. The malaika would say salamun alaykum. We welcome them with the salam.
When performing ziyarat al-jami'ah, is it essential to face the tomb of the ma'asum when saluting him, or is it sufficient to recite the entire ziyarah facing the qibla?
Of course, the preference is to face the tomb or the qabr of the Imam alayhi salam when you recite the ziyarah. You can even face the qibla in anyhow, but there's a hadith in Kamil al-Ziyarat by the authority of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says, when you enter the holy shrine, recite the following. Then the Imam says, then face the grave of Hussein alayhi salam and perform as many dua as you can. So the Imam says, face the grave of Al-Hussein alayhi salam. So these etiquettes are mentioned, as I've said before, in the books of Ad'iyah and Ziyarat, how to say salam, because it's like when you visit a alim, a grand scholar, you would face him and talk to him. So with Assalamu alaikum, Mawlana, مثلا. So with the same with the Imams alayhi salam.
We have time for one more question from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is being homosexual but not acting on it, is that haram?
You see, the Quran says, وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا فَتَمَسَّكُمُ النَّارُ. Do not incline to those who. So we shouldn't even think about the haram, even incline towards the haram. That would gradually comes into us. If not us, na'udhu billah, our generations, offspring. So try not to even think about the haram. لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَلَدِينَ. You have your own faith, we have our own faith. This is something agreed by all the religions, the divine religions, by the main famous religions of Ahl Kitab.
Yes.
That's we.
Not even other religions
exactly,
as well.
Yeah. Nobody agrees with such acts. So, no, we shouldn't even think about these things and stay away to purify ourselves from all these things and thoughts.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna. Thank you to all the viewers for joining us on this episode of Ahkam SOS. Inshallah, myself and the Sheikh will be back on Wednesday here on Imam Hussein TV 3 at 7 p.m. If you have a question you'd like to ask, please send it in via the WhatsApp. The QR code is there, the number's on the bottom. And whenever you ask, inshallah, we'll roll those questions on to the next episode. So we'll see you then, Wednesday, 7 p.m. here on Imam Hussein TV 3. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.